What is up, guys? I'm Zach Nava of Nava Reptiles, and welcome back to the channel. So I have Jamie and Chris with me tonight from RC Reptiles. I had the privilege of meeting them actually through one of Chris Eaton's really awesome Zoom calls that he does, like just his open Zoom calls, which if for those of you that are in here that have maybe not made it into one of those, I would definitely keep a lookout for the next invite, because that was a lot of fun, and again, like, it introduced me to a lot of different people like Jamie and Chris and a few others. So anyways, without just kind of BSing with you guys too much, I'm going to go ahead and bring Jamie in. Chris will be with us here in a little bit. He unfortunately had to run out, but he will be right back in, like I said, here in just a few minutes. What's up, Jamie?
Hi. What's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. I was just telling everybody that Chris will be in here in a little bit.
Yes.
So I was just kind of letting them know, obviously we met through Chris Eaton, through his Zoom call. I was able to catch one of those breeders meetings one night. And it was like, I think that was one of the earlier ones, because there was only like 5 or 6 of us in there.
Yeah, I mean,
That was a lot of fun.
it was a lot of fun, especially those first few, like you said, small numbers.
Speak of the devil, Chris Eaton's in the chat right now. What's up, brother? We were just talking about you, man. So thanks again to Chris, like I said, for introducing us and just a bunch of the other breeders. I'm really looking forward to the fact that he's getting those coming back.
Yeah, those would be. I mean, even it was really nice though, because the small groups. I mean,
Yes.
some big names popped in there. I mean, yeah, Justin came in one time, Billy was in one, JT
Yeah.
came in one. You know what I mean? It was just, why more people didn't take advantage of it is just beyond me. Like, when
I don't know, but I know that, and I'm sure he's already prepared for it. Like once those start coming back around again, like now that there's all of a sudden like all this buzz, like, oh shit, like you never know who's going to show up,
Oh,
I have a
absolutely.
feeling he's going to start getting a lot more people in there, because I mean, you remember even the one right after that one that we were in, there was like twice as many people in there.
Is that the one where the trolls came in?
Yeah, with
and-
those kids that came in
Yeah.
and were saying God knows what. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how you knew it was getting big, when you have to boot somebody
Right.
from your Zoom. I mean, you made it.
Yeah, I was just laughing because, like, I was waiting on Chris, and he was like, "Shit, I didn't even know where the button was. Like, I've never had to do
Right.
this." He's like, "I'm barely, competent in even getting this thing going and everybody live, let alone like having to, kick somebody out or block somebody or whatever." So, yeah, no, that was funny. But no, yeah, I am. I'm really excited about things like that are seem to be coming up more and more often. Like, there's way more live stuff going on. Like, I mean, it seems like any time of day, if I've got some downtime, I can
Right.
jump on Instagram and somebody's live. Like, somebody was live at like 9 o'clock this morning.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
There
I was
is
like, what are
always
you even
something
doing?
going on.
It's
Which,
so
I mean,
crazy.
It's kind of nice, but then you feel like if you miss it, you get so far behind so quickly on content.
Yeah,
I try to go back, and either if I can't watch it at the time, I try to go back and watch it, or at least listen to it and support, because a
Yeah.
lot of them we know, or
yeah. I get really overwhelmed, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. Where I'm like, and then I start feeling guilty, but I'm like, like there's only so many hours in the day.
exactly.
And especially because with so much of it being video format, I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start taking these and downloading the audio, and loading them to, like, whether it be Spotify or whatever other platforms there are out there. Did Jamie get a new camera?
What?
He's saying
I can't see the
your
comments yet.
your
He has
video-
his own.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So Chris is saying, he said, "Did you get a new camera?" He said your video looks 10 times better than the Cusco call you were on.
Oh, no, because that was my laptop. And I apologize if there's anybody else in the chat right now, because I can't see, that was in that Zoom call. If I blew your eardrums out, I was using the laptop, and I don't know if anybody noticed, but first I have to go and change the name, because my daughter hijacks it and changes it to her name. And then I went in, and after I tried to talk, and everybody's like, it's way too loud, I noticed the mic is full blast, which, I mean, I didn't think I would ever have to check.
Yeah.
Because who needs a mic at full volume? But
What's up,
So
Will? We got all the celebrities down in the chat. We got Will Moreau's down there,
oh, nice.
Chris Eaton.
Oh, that's
Appreciate everybody stopping in, guys. Thank y'all, seriously.
absolutely.
Jeremy, Chris Sexton, Tom and Mindy, of course. Kayla's busting my balls because I guess it's 2 a.m. in her country.
When does
I
she
can't remember what
sleep?
country she's from. Some small, like, unimportant country. No, I'm just busting your balls, Kayla. But yeah, it's good stuff. I appreciate everybody turning
up.
up.
Once he gets back, I can we'll be able to hop on the chat and see what's going on, say hi to everybody.
Yeah. No worries. All good. Like I said, I'll do what I can in the meantime to try to keep you apprised of any questions that are coming through. But right now, it's just a lot of ball busting, which is not surprising at all.
Oh, I was gonna say that's
So while we wait on Chris to get back, do you want to kind of give me a, I've read into like you guys' post you made the other day, which was awesome. For anybody that hasn't checked out their Instagram, like I loved that. It was really, really detailed. So, but if you want to kind of give it, for the people that haven't maybe read that, kind of y'all's background in snakes and how you guys got started in the hobby, and it seems like it's kind of snowballed pretty quick for you guys, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It definitely, we don't have that long, drawn out, it started in childhood. I actually did keep back in like 2000, it was 99 or 2000, I had one normal ball python, short one, I didn't have very long, just thought it was something different, way back in the day, nothing like it is now. But at the end of 2018, probably January 2019, my kids started watching all these YouTube videos, and it was simply kids playing with toys and everything, like super annoying stuff that we didn't want to even listen to, let alone have them watch. It was playing with toys that they own. Like, what are you doing? Like, go in the room and play with that.
There's a whole culture of that. It's really interesting. It's very interesting.
Unboxings of toys, which now it's hilarious because I yell at them for watching people unbox toys, and now it's like anytime somebody has an unboxing of a snake, I'm like, I want to check out and see what they got. So I kind of feel like I'm a hypocrite a little bit for that one, but whatever. So we told him, well, actually it was mostly Chris. He was like, you're gonna rot your brain. Stop watching this ridiculousness. Like, you cannot watch anything unless you can tell me something that teaches you. Like, right. If you're gonna use YouTube, you're gonna use it for a decent reason at least. You're gonna learn something. Yeah. And, they got turned on to Emily, Snake Discovery, and so
she's a good one.
For their level, she's ideal. For
sure.
Kids. And then that turned into Brian. That turned into them wanting something. So they came to me immediately and was like, can you get a snake? And because I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with it, but like your dad's a whole nother story. You have to go talk to him because
he was not like super into the idea at first, right?
No, not at all. Like he came from a family that like had absolutely no experience with reptiles, like
right.
Old school. Like nobody liked snakes, let alone cup snakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you get your two daughters ask you for something, and it turns into
good luck.
Okay, I guess if you guys lock it up really, really good, I guess we can try this, And
right.
He's like giving me the ultimatums, like this thing better not get out, it better not get too big. So we agreed on a little corn snake, and it's so funny because we got him right around my birthday in 2019. Yeah. So it was like kind of like the joke, like I got to go, go all out and go set up everything for him, and it was kind of like my birthday present, even if it was for the kids. Yeah. And so we got him home, and he seemed that it was harmless, and actually, after learning something, like learned about morphs, and then got caught his eye of ball pythons. Yeah. And so whenever he started, seeing ball pythons, I was like, well, that's what I used to keep. And I think it was, we got our first corn snake in late January. We bought our first ball python mid-February of 2019. Okay. So, it was probably 2 to 3 weeks maybe after we got our corn snake, we bought our first ball python.
And then you guys jumped into breeding pretty quick because you guys already have had babies and you're into your second season now, right?
Yes. Our first season, like, the way it happened is kind of weird. We started our collection, like I said, in February 2019. We happened to, hold on, I think. Yes, I think he is just now getting home.
Okay, awesome.
We started growing our collection in
what up, Moose?
February.
What's up, Chris? Hey, how's it going, man? Sorry about that.
All good, brother. No worries, no worries.
He was reading the chat, even though he wasn't here.
I like that shirt.
We were just talking about how we got started, and I told the story. So on board than you being scared of the corn snake at first.
That thing's locked up. They got more locks and fastenings on it.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. You said as long as it's locked up good and doesn't get out, we'll be all right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, corn snakes they can be a little like freaky though. Like the people that are like nervous about because they flail. They're like they don't like to sit still.
Yeah, and to me, a corn snake was just like a copperhead, man.
Like he had, he had no idea. So then like I said, we bought our first ball python soon after. Oh, we got dogs. Sorry.
It's all good.
And we met somebody locally, and we actually started talking, and we're really getting excited about what we could do in the future. And here, the person we met was a coworker, had already raised up a couple.
Not for a few years, maybe 6 years.
6 or 7, had them 2.5.
Yeah.
So excitement. We were like, oh well, let's do something together. So we basically agreed to start breeding together.
Yeah.
Life happens. We ended up taking in his entire collection into our house, and he had started pairing. Like by the time we kind of agreed on doing something together, we started pairing some snakes at his house. By August, he brought over a clutch of eggs that a female laid at his place because we had an incubator here, and he didn't have one set up or anything yet. So he brought those over here. Soon after, like I said, his entire collection came over here, and that's when we took over the pairings, the pairs,
everything.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we continued breeding and pairing up the snakes, and so we ended up with that albino clutch. There was an albino clutch that hatched the end of 2019.
Okay.
And then we ended up with 4 more clutches to follow in the following months up until July is when our last clutch hatched.
Okay.
So it was kind of like you said. I mean, it happened quick. We got into it in early 2019 by our first clutch hatch in October 2019. So
that's crazy.
So great, 2 families, 2 incomes.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it does. It makes all the sense in the world from a logic standpoint. Unfortunately, people aren't always logical,
No, you're exactly right. And you can't assume someone's going to do something.
Yeah, well, and that's the issue, and I find that in every aspect of everything, man, is like coming from having worked in management, especially you can never expect anyone else to work to the same degree that you hold yourself to. Like you can't hold anyone else to your same standards,
right?
Because they're just it's just never, they're gonna they might overshadow in some ways, which is great.
Yeah.
But then they may really slack in some other areas that are more important, so just depends. And there's nothing that you have no control over that. That's where the issue comes in.
Really important, for, like you said, in life. Just know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And got excited.
I mean, that's what you let emotions, I think, get more into it than you stayed in that business, because in the beginning it was fun. It was, I wasn't thinking of it on a business level.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have enough education in what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure exactly what we were going to eventually try to grow to be. So
no, that makes all the sense in the world. Yeah.
So I think that's just really important. Just know what you're getting into, especially if you're getting into it outside of people you really know and trust.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's yeah, and I think a lot of it is just that understanding going in, right up front of making sure that you're on the same page. And like you guys said, I mean, you it was never your intent to have this be a real serious thing. And so it was just, I can understand how it, like you said, it happens really quick, and then there's a lot of questions that you need answers to, and then you start to realize I don't really have a need or want to have to make these decisions with someone else,
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then everything, I'd run it by me, he'd say, okay, do it. But say we're buying a rack, it's $400. That means you owe $200 for the rack, but there was nothing like that. He never intended.
Right.
It was just I mean, partnerships work different ways for different people. I mean,
Sure.
I know a lot of people do make it work. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
yeah.
just feel like if it's not like two sides contributing to a goal together, then
Yeah.
say
That's
one
exactly
person
it.
might be the monetary side of the partnership while the
Mhm.
other one's doing the work.
Yeah.
Or
But again, that has to be talked about and understood right from the very get-go that like this is
Exactly.
what we're going to be responsible for, this is what we're not. And yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
no, that makes all the sense in the world.
And then it got to where, you know, we're doing the rats and all the snakes, and we want to do all this work to eventually split it with somebody else.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
not a
it
chance.
just-
It just
No.
wasn't.
Well, I'm glad it happened. I hate that, you know, it happened, but I'm glad it happened,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when it did. And obviously,
Sure.
like you guys said, you've learned from it and you just move on. So, and you
Yeah,
guys,
and I think-
again, it sounds like got the better end of the deal for everything anyways, because you guys were the ones that put in the work.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think that's what it is. You know, we were willing to put in work and
Time.
everything. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
once we realized, and then plus, like I said, it happened so early. So once we seen that first clutch tip, or like, you know what I mean? Pull that first clutch
Oh,
of
yeah.
eggs.
The
Like,
Yeah.
I
first
mean,
female off egg.
that's when you're like, you thought you were excited before, but
Yeah. It's so real then. Yeah.
The worst
And
thing
there's-
you did was get an incubator you could see
I
through.
can see comments
lived
now.
it, you know?
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, that I love my cooler incubator because it works really well, and I love the idea behind the way that it works. I just love it, but it's also like just a giant pain in the freaking butt because it's so big, it takes up so much space, and then there's water in it, so it's like I want to move it now, and I'm like, crap, I gotta drain like
Oh.
10
That's
gallons
the
of
one
water
Gary put
out
the
by
video on.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
works amazing. Like it's phenomenal in terms of how it functions, and I love that. And that was what I loved about it from the get go, was just the idea of it. I'm like, that makes perfect sense to me. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And my logical brain just loves it. But yeah, I hate that I can't see inside it without having to open it, and I hate that it takes up just a huge amount of space and it weighs 15 tons.
Oh.
So I'll have to figure something out with that. Do you guys have like a DIY, like a fridge
We got
incubator?
a deal.
We lucked out. A guy I think someone ended up going to jail or something like that. But they
It
were
was a
getting rid
crazy
of everything.
story,
It
yeah.
was wild, but I drove a couple hours and
We got actually 2 racks,
yeah,
an
we did well.
incubator, a thermostat.
Couple thermostats.
No, we just let the bee with that one.
Yeah, it
That's
was
awesome.
Like a random.
But I mean, it was like a
Grab
random,
bag.
like they were just kind of like they were just trying to
Get
get
it
it
out of the
out.
house.
Yeah.
Probably
I mean, hey, I've heard of some killer stories of some killer deals that people got off people that were either in jail, going to jail, their mom and dad trying to get them out of jail. Yeah,
I felt so
desperate
bad 'cause I
times.
was like, is somebody gonna come home and look for their stuff? But
Right.
he talked to when he went and picked all the stuff up. He was like, no, the guy sold off like his valuable sneaks before he went. Like he knew it was coming. So
Right. Man, that's a trip.
yeah.
I've heard some
Like-
interesting stories.
We were doing those little hover
Oh,
baiters,
it-
I think they're called, for the egg, chicken eggs.
Oh yeah.
That was what our first 2 clutch.
And
Well,
I mean,
our
it-
first clutch. It was
It
horrible.
worked, but it didn't work well.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody else told me that they tried to use one of those once, and they said they were like, yeah, like for the record, don't try that like
No,
at
I mean,
all. Like,
People,
No, I
a lot
mean
of
I
people
wouldn't
say it
suggest
works.
it.
It does, yeah.
But when
yeah,
we got our first clutch, which it was only, I mean,
It started with 4 eggs, and 2 went bad through the process. So I
Yeah.
think it had a lot to do with the incubator.
yeah.
because just based on the way those work, they don't account for the humidity aspect.
Not at all. No, you're right.
We
So-
had the whole bottom of it like all taped up, filled with water, like
Yeah.
it was
And still yet.
Really trying to, yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, Shane said my older kids used a chicken incubator. Yeah,
That's exactly what it was. And then like
I don't-
every few days we had to let get airflow going in it because it didn't have any kind of airflow.
Yeah.
It was rough.
that's too weird.
We made it through. I mean,
And there's so many different
Plus
styles of
one.
those chicken incubators too. You could maybe, who knows? I
We got
don't
3.
know.
They're paperweights now. Someone
Yeah.
holding something down.
That's a
Yeah,
trip.
Our other one is, I mean, it's a Pepsi cooler, so it's a bigger one. A little
That's pretty
elbow
nice.
grease, cleaning it up.
Yeah,
with-
I'm gonna start keeping my eyes out. I think for just like a smaller size one, because like this will fit like 5 clutches in it, which is probably, I mean, it's more than fine for right now. But I just, like I said, it's the footprint of it really is what kills me more than anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. we will see. So what outside of snakes, I always like, this is a question that I just kind of came to me that I feel like I want to ask more people like in this hobby. So like, do you feel like you've got kind of a collector's mindset? Like, what is it about ball pythons and like the market that drew you guys in and made you want to have like as many as you do, you know, and produce and the whole nine, you know?
I would say it's the genetics. Almost like experimenting. You put this with that.
Yeah. It's like painting.
Really. And I mean, to be honest, when we first seen snakes that we really, really like were like.
Yeah, I was amazed snakes could look the way that some ball pythons do.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, with 2 kids, and we're not dropping, you know what I mean? We're not dropping thousands on snakes right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not smart for us.
Sure.
However, we can pick up the pieces along the way. And, you know what I mean? When our kids are older, we can be making some pretty fantastic animals.
Yeah.
You know?
So for you guys, it was a lot of just like, hey, we really like this high end stuff. Let's like work our way up to making stuff like that.
Right.
Well, I was just fascinated that like 2 yellow bellies make an eye. That blew my mind. Those 2 snakes would make a white snake, you know?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, just probably for that, you know, you could just experimenting of this gene with that gene, but it's gonna come out.
Yeah, and just not, and just literally, and that's a neat thing to me about the hobby is that there's just still so much we don't know. Like, what does this look like? I have no idea. Because even though you know, like for some combinations, it's like somebody's definitely made it. But then the pictures online don't look the same as what things end up looking in person, and that's if there's even anything online, you know. So it's like I made that Bazinga ball. I didn't have any idea what that was going to look like. I saw pictures, but until I had it in my hands, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's so different.
And so that's super exciting. But yeah, you sound kind of like my dad. Anytime I get anything new, my dad, he's all into it now because he said the same thing. He's like, I had no idea that snakes could look like this. Like,
oh yeah.
All the different, and that's what he was saying. It's like all the different colors and patterns, and he goes down the rabbit hole that I do of like, you know, looking at like the gradation of each individual scale. Even it's like just one scale can have 6 colors on it.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. You know, the reason I ask, you know, it sounds like I just feel like there's something, like there's like a personality trait in a lot of us that like makes us want to have many of things, you know, outside of just like, oh, I want to make stuff, you know. I don't know. Like I know that I have like a bit of like a collector mentality. Like I get into stuff and I'm like, oh, I need to have 100 of these, not like one, you know.
Yeah. See, I'm like the gambler mentality. You know?
Okay.
It amazes you can put, you know, $250 snakes together and make something that's amazing, you know, let alone the way it looks at decent price.
Yeah.
The whole thing just it amazes me. The whole market.
Yeah. All the angles.
Nuts.
He always makes fun of me and says that like we don't go with a win anything.
Yeah, if you're gonna go for it, right?
We once we get into something, we usually go and give it our all because I mean, if you're not going to, then what's the point in doing it? You know what I mean? Like we started gardening. Next thing you know, we have 3 gardens and a fruit garden and all this stuff. Which I mean, it's awesome in summertime, but then at like year 3, I'm like, oh, why do we have so many gardens? You know what I mean? So I think that's why like building and growing as we go and growing and like doing a lot of it with our own holdbacks and stuff is something that's like kind of important to us because these are living animals. You know what I mean? Like, so we don't want to go too big where it's ever going to be overwhelming to us or we feel like it's like too much to do.
Right, and we don't want to spend a ton of money. You know, we're not in a position to spend, you know, $50,000 on underage females.
No, most people aren't.
You know, slow progression. What we produce, we'll hold back and go from there. Hopefully, by the time, you know, 10 years down the road, we can get, you know, have a nice base.
Yeah, for sure.
Or something.
Everything's a stepping stone, for sure. I mean, that's, you know, as much as again, you know, they are animals and all that. I mean, at the same time, you know, they can be. You know, there's a business side where it's like, okay, I can get, you know, 2-3 years out of this female and then I can sell her to somebody else that's new, that's up and coming in the hobby. And, you know, they can, you know, kind of pick up from there and use that while I've got stuff that I just made that's now going to take that place. Yeah. Exactly. That's the exciting part to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
like you know, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You know, it is.
No, you're good.
Using your own holdbacks, it's not like it would go out and get 15, 20. We have, you know what I mean? You slowly progress to it. So you know when you hit your limit or what you can handle. You know what I mean? You're not putting too much on your plate at once.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, that's right where I'm at. Like I'm at the point where this clutch that I should have coming, like my next male could be in there. You know, like for my ultramel project, and that's that's a weird thought. I don't know why that hadn't hit me until recently. That's awesome. That like, oh shit, like that's my plan is to actually have a holdback male from this clutch because there's some crazy combinations that could come out. So, yeah, that's an exciting place to be at with your project. So how far are you guys away from kind of reaching that point, you think, where you've got like some of your own holdback stuff that's going to be going for you soon? That's why I say males, because obviously they'll go within about a year.
Yeah,
we have males. Our holdback males from last season are already 700.
Yeah, they're
almost 500 grams. I'm looking at boards.
I keep
no, you're good.
I keep a board that has everybody's like statistics right there, so I'm keeping. But we have males ready to go from 2020.
That's awesome.
Was that 2020, 2019?
Wesley.
Yeah,
2020.
Yeah, so he's lost.
He was our first clutch of 2020. So I mean, but he's ready to go.
That's awesome.
That's
really exciting.
We lost the males.
That was the problem. I was going to say we lost a lot of our males.
So we're sort of.
Yeah, you still won out on that deal. I mean, depending on the males you had, but
enough to make it work to where it was definitely worth it. And we offered him a complete split.
Sure.
Put everything on it, but he wasn't willing to.
Well, he sounded like he just didn't want to put in the work of anything in general. So I mean, there was no point.
I mean, it was kind of a damper because like it was right. You know what I mean? When it just kind of was a damper to our whole
Yeah.
Well, it's a weird thing. You're catching some traction. You're finally doing something.
Right.
You're kind of like where you guys wanted to be in your heads, and then at the same time, you're realizing that this person that you kind of brought along for the ride is not going to work out. You're trying to deal with that mentally, and then you're like, well, shit. Like, how do you even start back over from there? In terms of you got to rebrand now. You got to get a new logo. All the work you've already put into marketing yourselves under this other name is kind of like almost like just was a waste, but which it's not, and nothing ever is. But I can understand how that
definitely
that
a lesson,
feel. Sure.
Yeah,
and that's just part of it.
But the nice thing is, like, since everybody's like stuck at home, like meeting the people that we have through social media and like, that's been really, really nice because like
we got to see both sides of it.
We see the bad side, but now we're going through like the really good side and getting to meet a lot of people that
Yeah.
Sure.
Right where
it's
we
amazing,
are.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely been my favorite part is that, like, I tell people this a lot, that there are more of us in our position, like you guys and myself, where like we're just now like starting to produce our first snakes, and like we've been putting in the work for a couple years now, and like really doing everything we can to research and market ourselves where we can, this, that, and the other. But now like we're right here like on the cusp of really doing some big things, and there's a lot more of us than there even are like the big dogs in the industry. If you really think about it, like there's only like realistically there's only like a handful. There's not that many that are like huge.
Oh, right. Yeah, if you ask anybody to name the top 170, they're all going to bring their name the same.
Like the same 5 people.
Yeah.
And they all seem to be pretty down to earth people, which is amazing. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what I was going to say too. Is that like literally anyone, any of us, anyone in my chat, like anybody that got into this in a week from now, that sees this video, like they could absolutely, they have the access to reach out to a Billy Rose or a Justin Kabelka or a Miguel Garcia, or whoever you want to say are like the top names. Like they have access to all those people right away, like no questions asked, and those people will help them.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
Like that. That's what blew my mind about it. You know what I mean?
No, the only people in this industry that are fighting to keep people out are like, I don't even know, people I don't associate with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are people that have been doing this for a long time and they just don't want anything to change because it's theirs and they own it and they don't want anybody new coming in and messing it up and like making them have to work to spread their name and making them have to work to sell their animals.
Yeah,
You
but
know, they don't want it to
I feel
get
like
harder.
people are getting kind of weaned out because
Mhm.
it's like
Your local reptile
nobody's
show
putting
guy.
up with it anymore.
And that's exactly, Chris, it's exactly what I was picturing in my head as I was like describing that. I was picturing like every asshole that I've ever gone to a freaking Repticon and seen sitting behind their little desk. And again, this is nothing like to talk trash about anybody, but like if you're, because I don't care what your booth setup looks like or anything, like I will literally go booth to booth and talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But if every booth I walk past is like this crummy looking booth with the same fucking, you know, tablecloth with deli cups on it, and you're sitting there with a dirty t-shirt on playing on your cell phone while you're sitting on top of a cooler that you brought with you, like
Yeah, that's about 90% of them, isn't it?
you don't even make eye contact with me? Come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
You're selling yourself as much as you're selling the animals. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
well, and I, stuff like that bothers
Place
me
like that.
because it's just, it makes the whole industry look bad to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, you know what? Like, if you want to go sell shit at a flea market, like, go sell shit at a flea market. But, like, I love this hobby and I love these animals, and, like, they need to be represented way better than that. Come
Yeah,
on.
I don't get
Because
it.
you get people that go to those shows because their kids want to go, you know, and so they kind of get drug along by their kids. And I just feel like when you've got stuff like that going on, the parents can't, you know, the parents don't see the good side of it. You know,
Oh,
they
the
see
potential.
the freaking carnival people selling
Yes.
carnival animals,
Yeah, you're exactly right.
and I hate that shit.
And that's why we haven't done a show yet. Just mainly because we don't have a good setup yet. We don't have a banner.
Yeah, and that's
But you
fine.
want to go, exactly. We're going to wait till we get to that point.
You have
Because-
to, like, you might not, like, we're not the biggest, but, like, I definitely wasn't going to start, like, really, really promoting us until we had our logo done. Until we had, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You have to kind of, like, fake until you make it. You know what I mean? Like, you have
Yep.
to
That's where I was
least
at.
come out and
Yeah.
present yourself in a professional way. You know what I mean? Don't
Yeah.
come out here acting like a jackass. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, in, like, everything that we do, we try to present ourselves in the best way possible. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're small, but we're a family. We cater to families. Like, we're
Sure.
introducing a lot of kids or a lot of families to snakes. So that's why a lot of times I do like theme photo shoots, because it paints them in like a, oh, that's really pretty, or that's really
And
cute.
that's exactly, yeah.
And it's not because I think they're adorable and my snakes love me. Like, no, it's
Right.
nothing like
No.
that. Like, you know what I mean? We're smart people. We know.
Yeah. You gotta paint
we
the,
know
you gotta
what
paint
they
the
are,
picture.
you know?
Yeah, you gotta
But
paint a pretty picture.
It definitely softens the idea to a lot of people that may come across it. And from where we are, you know what I mean, outside of Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, like, nobody
yeah.
around us has any experience. You know what I mean? Like, the people that we
Yeah.
come in contact with every day, like, they have
Yeah.
No.
Very few really realize how many snakes we have and what we're going. They probably think we have, one or two snakes.
Yeah. And if you told them how many, they'd think you were absolutely batshit.
Crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some-
Yeah, I used to
some
talk to my
give you
customers and stuff about that.
Like, that's really neat, you know what I mean? But it's still half-hearted, and you're like, okay, you know, I understand.
Which, because
Yeah.
I was that guy 10 years ago. You know, if you told me
100%. Well, and that's just it. I had a boss that so I worked for a heating and air company at one point. I did load calculations for them. So it was office desk work, and there was the FedEx hub was literally like one block away, like one block over. And so I would go on, like, I'll take my lunch and go pick up my snakes anytime they got shipped in. You know, and this was early on when I was buying like something every week.
No.
You know, whether it was off of like an auction or whatever. Like I was getting animals all over the damn place. And he one day, like, he overhears me talking about like the business side to one of my coworkers. He's like, Zach, wait. He's like, repeat what you just said. He's like, because he's like, this whole time, he's like, I just thought that you were super fucking weird.
Right.
You know, and like that's why you were buying so many snakes. He's like, because I've lost count how many snakes you brought through here, and it wasn't really that many at that point. It was probably like 10, but you know, to the average person, that's a lot. You know.
Oh,
yeah.
And he was like, you're telling me you can make money off these things? He's like, you should have told me that. He's like, now you're speaking my language. He's like, why don't we set up a room in the back for these things? He's like, you just tell me what we need, and like, we'll just make it happen. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not trying to get involved at that level, but One of these days I may make a phone call to him. Justin, if you're listening, you still owe me some money. But yeah.
Kind of the same story with his grandmother though. Like she definitely, I memean, she's 83 now, or to be 83.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry. But she always had, you know, only good snakes that does. Like, you know what I mean? That's just how she works. You know what I mean? With her,
there's just a culture of people that are like that,
exactly.
and it's the truest form of ignorance that they, in the literal form, they have no idea.
Yes.
They literally don't know
Right.
any better.
And well, that's my point. Once she kind of heard what we were planning and like talking about, and she came over and she met, like, I mean, it was back when we only had like probably 3 or 4 maybe, and
she held them.
she held them. I have a picture of her at 80 years old with holding one of our biggest ones around her neck and like smiling for a picture, and like, but once she heard like, well, what do you guys plan on doing? Like, you paid how much for that? You know what I mean? I think that kind of like threw her off, but I mean, she's fully supportive and everything, and she loves it now. But I think it kind of threw everybody off.
I mean, my best friend Adam, like he's one of the only people that I like really tell what some of my stuff costs, you know, like and what I've got invested. And so like when I went and picked up this last one, I was telling him what I paid, and he's like, dude, he's like, that shit's getting a little out of hand for something you're not making any money off of yet. Like, he's like, have you actually sold any of these things yet? I was like, well, like, you know, like, I was like, I mean, I basically have 2 that are sold, and like that's this amount of money, which is like less than 1% of what I probably have in it, you know, like.
It's a
I was like, but I'm getting there, man. Just trust me. Like, you just gotta stay the course, you know. Trust the process.
Right.
I was expecting to sell 1 or 2 snakes, honestly, God. Even after we had our last clutch, I was fully prepared to not sell a snake for a year, just because if I'm going to buy a snake, I'm going to go to a bigger, you know, a more recognizable name, someone that you know. And I was truly shocked. She did the morph market thing, and it was it amazed me.
Yeah, man. It's that's like a much less stressful thing now than what I think it used to be. And I think you guys are doing more than enough just with what you guys do in terms of social media and everything else. Like, you guys are kind of all over the place, you know? And so like, cause my biggest thing is I just want to like, so like this animal that I just bought, you know, it wasn't a cheap animal. It wasn't like the most expensive snake in the world, but it wasn't a small amount of money. And so, but I was quickly able to literally just type in the guy's name in Google, you know, like I searched him on Facebook, like, you know what I mean? And so like I was able to very easily like validate, even just with that already made me feel better. I'm like, okay, like, I can see this guy's been around a while. I can see the people that he knows because the people he's in pictures with, etc. So I'm like, all right, I'm already feeling better. Then I just reached out, talked to someone else. And that's how, and it took me 5 minutes, you know, just to verify that the dude was legit and he's somebody that makes quality animals. So I think, as long as you're doing even just the minimum of like just being active on Instagram, like even if you're just mildly active, like, you know, if you've got less than 100 posts on Instagram, like you probably need to step that up. And then, you know, we all start somewhere, right? But I mean, I think if you got 100 posts on Instagram and I can see you on Facebook, like, you know, I'm probably good after that as far as buying on Morph Market and stuff.
Right. Like, I just started our Instagram in October. Our partner, our ex-partner, managed the Instagram before that, and for a year and a half, and I think we're up to like 150 followers, something like that. Like, I mean, but there was no activity from us. Like, it was just copy and paste from Facebook. And you can get stuff. You can get some growth that way. It's really weird. What throws me off is I'll get a follow from some random account that's like has 35 posts, and it'll have like 2,000 followers. I'm like, I see who's following this person and why? Because they're not posting anything. Or private, like, whenever somebody follows, I always try to go back and see if it is somebody. If it's somebody that keeps thinks like, I'm gonna follow you back when I'm at it.
Oh yeah. I literally, like, if you've got over 100 posts, or like, you know, if it's a newer account and I can see you're trying to put some effort in, I'll usually will follow back. But yeah, there's some that I don't. Or if it's a private account, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not like you're welcome to follow me and that's totally cool. But if I don't know you and I can't even see like that you're part of the hobby,
that's what I can't understand is why people. Especially if it has like a business name on it, why they're private, I don't know.
Well, not a lot of people just don't know, or they're not like ready to make that jump, and I understand, and I think again, that's just like the thought is, I guess the reality is, like, you know, as our names are out there, you know, we are going to get people that are going to follow us because they legitimately just want to see what we have going on, and they don't actually expect us to, you know, to follow them back. And so I think that's, you know, that's certainly part of it. But I don't know. Social media is still weird. The whole thing's strange to me.
Yeah, I will say though, yeah, he has never had any type of social media. No Facebook, no Instagram, no.
Yeah. You're better off for it. It's more of an annoyance than it is anything else. A lot of times, like, it gets my blood pressure up in the morning, and I'm like, why am I even looking at this? Like, I used to not do this, you know. Now
I'll
it's like
scroll around on hers, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, it's. I appreciate it in a lot of ways, just because, you know, just there's so much information to be had, so much information.
Yeah.
Which kind of rolls me into my next question that I was thinking about earlier. Like, what are some other things that you guys are into outside of the hobby? Like, obviously, I know what you guys both do for work, if you want to kind of talk about that a little bit. But, like, other interests, you know, like other hobbies that you guys were into maybe before snakes, or, like, just something random, like you've started researching just out of the blue because of, like, had time on your hands or whatever.
Well, first, let's talk about what you do for a living.
Yeah, we work at the casino, you know.
We'll start there and we'll roll into the rest, yeah.
That's where we met, actually, in blackjack class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In 2007.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's one of those, like, I feel like that's one of those, like, cool fucking careers. Like, everybody wants to be a bartender once. Yeah. Everybody wants to, like, be, you know, work in a casino, like, whether it's blackjack or poker, you know, whatever. Like, they want to be a dealer, especially. Like flight attendants, you know what I mean, stuff like that, or like just those like, I don't know, you know what I mean, like there's those, and I think it's probably like more of like a pop culture thing, like they've been kind of put in this weird light in like movies and entertainment, but they're for good reason, like they're really interesting career paths.
You see all walks of life. It's just like being a bartender, truthfully.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you listen to everybody's stories, they get to yell at you a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And when the casino first came around here, I mean,
we were the only one.
We were the only casino because Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia are all right here in our little area. We can get to any of the 3 states very quick. You know, being in Ohio, like we can get anywhere in 15 minutes from Ohio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that's going through West Virginia. So we're all right here. And West Virginia was the first one to get their license for table games. So that's why we started. In Wheeling, and
it was amazing the amount of action that came through that place. I mean, you think Wheeling, West Virginia, how many people can really have real money in this area?
Yeah,
I mean, it was like 4 little kids.
Man.
Yeah,
it wasn't much at all, but
people underestimate
thousands of dollars nightly.
And it's just cash coming out of nowhere.
My first night, I counted 60,000 off a guy, and it was just like, it blew my mind. It was just like, put you in your place real quick.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I believe it.
Sure. Because we're brand new, and all the like management they brought when we first started was from like AC, from Vegas, was from.
So it was all nothing to them.
Yeah. Work, you know.
Tons of guys from overseas, especially the roulette guys, because roulette was it's more of a European game than really U.S. anymore. Originated that, you know what I mean? So. Like, we learned off some of the best, but it was like, they threw you to the fire, and like, either you broke down and you didn't last very long, or you adjusted and learned how to deal with it.
I assume it's probably like bartending.
Exactly.
You can either make the drink after so long, or you can't make the drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deal with people
and then somewhere in between, their personality has to take over. But then because I've literally never gambled like at a casino ever in my life. I've been into casinos, but I've never gambled. I have an addictive personality, and I don't know when to quit on anything. So like I have found it's probably just best to stay away.
That's smart.
And I don't like going into something that I don't like 1,000% understand every aspect of either. So I'm like, if I got to ask somebody a question about something, I don't need to be putting money into it. But like the way I understand, like, do you guys get to converse a lot, like back and forth, or is it still a little bit more like professional? Like, I don't know.
As long as you're talking to a customer, you're pretty much all right. You know, when we first started, I was just trying to keep up, so I didn't talk to anybody.
Sure.
It was kind of, you kept your head down and you didn't make mistakes. Like, you try not to make a mistake. If you made it through a night without getting yelled at for something, because like we were like the bottom of the totem people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so you just try to keep your head down and not make any mistakes, and have your floor supervisor say, "Good job." At the end of the night, you're like, "Yes, I made it through the night." You know?
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah, I
like,
can't
"10,
imagine the
13
stress,
hours."
because bartending's stressful, but at the end of the day, it's nobody's money is gonna be fucked with. Like, you know, if I make a drink wrong, or if I don't know how to make, like, whatever,
Yeah.
I can laugh that off, and you can be pissed at me all you want. You know, it doesn't
Right.
really matter at the end of the day. But like, if you guys make a mistake there, and like, you can literally cost somebody money, and then like, whether it's your
10 years
employer,
later.
which sucks, or it could be the person in front of you, which is like almost worse, because they're gonna yell at you like crazy
Yeah,
for something that
I mean,
you're supposed to know. You know?
Oh yeah, they definitely expect no mistakes.
Sure.
I've been called everything you could be called, probably, you know. But
Yeah.
looking back on it, if they weren't all over me, I wouldn't have worked so hard to get better. You know what I mean?
100%.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Well,
be
that
damned if I'm the
the
guy to get motherfucked today.
yeah. No, those shifts are the ones I feel like we probably, both industries, we learn the most from, of like, you know, the worst shifts, and the ones, you know, maybe you fuck something up, or, you know, maybe you just got really buried in the fucking weeds. Like, you come out of it better, because then the next time you're in that, you're just like, this shit
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
faze me. You don't even blink an eye
exactly it.
anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So
See, it's pretty, honest to God, they're probably really close to the same type of job.
yeah.
You got to read a person. You know what I mean? I've talked to guys about
Everything.
Bigfoot, NASCAR, fuck, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You name it, we could have a conversation about it if he wants to. And just,
Yeah.
that's mainly it, gauging a guy. That's all.
Yeah, I think the difference probably is, like, at least now my bar was in an eclectic neighborhood, so it was very much that way, in the sense that, like, I could be talking to some rich day trader, and literally at the other end of the bar could be, like, you know, some dude that's talking to me, like you said, about like being abducted by aliens or Sasquatch, or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and literally anything in between. There could be like a
Yeah.
drag queen sitting next to, I don't know, like Gandhi.
That's good.
You know, and that's just the kind of bar it was, and I think that's what I would say is probably the difference between, like, working in a casino and, like, most bars. Most bars have, like, a pretty standard clientele, you know,
Yeah.
to some degree, but yeah, like with the casino, like, you literally, like, every walk of life, and anything from the bottom to the top, and everything in between.
Oh yeah, and you learn not to judge someone by the way they look either.
100%, yeah.
You know, there were times, young kid, you know,
And that's like one of my biggest pet peeves now, I
There's
think, because of
20,000.
that.
Yeah.
I hate it when people like just like write somebody off like without getting to know them.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
no.
Oh, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves now, because
It's
some of the
humbled me.
nicest people like that I've met through the casino, and some of my favorite players walk through the door and you would not even, you have no
Yep.
idea. But
Yeah, well, and the bar's the same way. I mean, like,
Right.
I had regular customers that were like, you know, my neighborhood regulars, like people that lived in the area that I saw 2, 3, 4 times a week, you know, and they might look rough around the edges, or sound rough around the edges, or be rough around the edges, but like,
Right.
you know, at the end of the day, they were like good customers to me, you know, because I would have
Right.
like even sometimes bartenders from other areas, they'd be like, oh, like, you guys serve him in here? I'm like, yeah, because he doesn't give me any problems. Like, that's Matt.
Exactly.
Matt's a
Yeah.
dickhead when he drinks, but I know how to talk to Matt when he drinks, and so I never have any problems out of Matt. You know, like,
Yeah.
I might have to throw Matt out. Matt, if you're listening, you probably know who you are.
you
I
know,
might occasionally have
it's
to throw
like-
Matt out, but Matt's always allowed back in, you know. But
Right,
he
yeah.
there was a particular person that was banned from a lot of other bars in the area. But, you know, it's just, that's just how it is, man. But yeah. Some of my best customers were people that weren't allowed in other places, or you know, they just looked like they shouldn't be allowed in somewhere. But
same
That's
with
what
players.
they were.
Same with players.
We went
Yeah.
from being
Yep.
the only casino to the smallest casino. You know, Pittsburgh
Yeah.
opened up, Ohio opened up. So
yeah,
now we get the guys that ban themselves, or
Or
you
people that
know,
just
got
come.
thrown out of other places.
yeah.
A lot
But
of-
sometimes those that's the best clientele. Sometimes,
Oh, they're
you
awesome.
know,
I mean, I
you're gonna
enjoy
get
it.
some real
I mean,
assholes in between. But you
Yeah,
also probably
and
you
that's
probably have
fun,
those
too.
regulars that are just always in there.
But like we came from a time where we expect players to be assholes to us because like.
Yeah.
And
That's the way it was.
That's the way it was. Like
Yeah.
you were a dealer, like you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
they were gonna talk to you, like
Especially, you know, guys in $10,000, and you've taken 9,000 of it from them. You
Right.
can't expect them to be
Yeah,
the
you
happiest
can't.
guy in the world, you know.
right.
I understand.
Yeah.
Like I could be pissed too. Like
And
you know what I
at the
mean?
end of the
People
day,
come mad at me.
at the end of the day, it is technically like a service position. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
that's sometimes difficult to deal with, just because sometimes you get people that are looking down at you. You know, like because you're in that position of service to them in that moment. You know, even if you make more money than they do, and it doesn't matter. And so that shit used to always kind of rub me the wrong way more than
But
anything.
you can slowly work those people out, you know?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
let them know that what's up.
And there's some people that just want to come down and play the game, and you like, that's all they want to do. They just want to come play, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite because like you know what they're gonna do, you know what to expect from them. Like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know the things they like, the things they don't like. You know what I mean. We've been dealing to them for so long that.
And you guys have been in this business for how long now?
12 years, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
2007 they opened up.
Yeah,
Okay.
2000. They opened at 2000.
Well, we've only been in Wheeling though. That's the one thing I wish we would have done is travel a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
Yeah.
We had our kids and bought a house to be close to family, and
Yeah.
our kids are in great school system and everything like that. So definitely
Oh, we're
staying home.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future. That makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah,
though.
yeah.
And that's sometimes things like that just work out the way they're meant to. Even if something was meant to be a stepping stone, you can stay in that same house for forever and pay that thing off and put yourselves in a better financial spot for the next thing. So no, that makes sense.
Right. So outside of work, speaking of their kids, that's pretty much our early hobbies. Our kids are old enough that they're in sports now, so we got two
softball team, 2 girls on 6 softball teams in the summer.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And then we got basketball in the winter months, so
that'll keep you busy.
it kind of keeps us busy.
Oh, yeah.
After
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I've got a buddy who's got 2 daughters now that are in softball, and I mean they're like practice, 6 days a week plus games and travel, and she's on like
wild.
2 teams plus the school team. Like it's
Yeah.
it's crazy, but like she volunteers for all of it. Like he asks her every week, like literally, like you quit, you can drop practice, like you can do it, but she just she's hooked, man. She's addicted. So yeah, I mean, no, it's great.
All the
It's
things
great.
to be into, that's.
Well, it's great work ethic, and it's like most of the, I say most, the vast majority of like student athletes, that I've met, like at least at the collegiate level, if they make it that far, are like some of the most disciplined and hardest working people that I've had the pleasure of working with, like especially people that I've employed, or people that I've managed, and like just other coworkers and stuff that especially if they played at college, like man, those are the people that I'm like, fuck, I can't keep up with these guys, like because they're just wired
work hard
different.
for something, you can achieve it. You know what I mean? They've learned that through, and that's big.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. No, I think sports is super important. If that's what they're into, just having.
You learn a lot of lessons. It's an easy way to learn how to lose, learn how to.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
A lot of bullshit.
Everything, yeah, a lot. Yeah, it has so many parallels. So no, I think that's great. So softball and basketball. And you guys have how many kids now? 3?
Two.
Two.
Two. We're done at 2.
Yeah,
That's
just the 2. All right, yeah.
No, all right. I mean, they're 11 and 9, so I mean, we finally got it. I don't pay the ones with toddlers. I remember what that was like, and I wouldn't want to get back to that now.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. They're old enough now; they can take care of themselves and they can help you out with things and all that good
For the
stuff.
most
So now
part.
that's yeah. When they're in the mood, right?
That's right.
No, that's good. So, I mean, how involved are they in terms of the snakes? I mean, obviously it was kind of their idea, getting into it. Have they pretty well kept the passion for it, or you guys kind of taking it and run with it?
I'd say they're pretty involved. I mean, we definitely.
They're in here with us, helping us clean. I mean, they kind of help when they want to. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff we do, the cleaning and stuff while they're in school, just because it's so much easier. Because they want to hold everybody and kind of spend one-on-one time with everybody. And if you're just trying to go through cracks and get everybody spot clean,
no, I get it.
Fresh water, it's easier to do without.
Yeah, I've got to do a little bit of that tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not afraid to get in there. I mean, they'll clean the tub, or they'll clean the rats with us. I mean, try not to push it so they hate it. You know.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, yeah, everybody that I know that I talk to that has kids that are even remotely involved, they're just like we let them decide their own level of involvement, and that keeps it cool and fun and exciting. And like that's the way it should be, man. There's no sense in making it a drudge. I mean, unless that's what they're trying to do. I mean, if it was if they were really owning the breeding projects, it would be different.
Right.
Like I was excited. I know Cusco is finally given his oldest a snake. Noah's getting his first own snake to pick out of this next blood python clutch. And so he's like, hey, that's his snake. Like, he's got to be responsible for feeding it, cleaning it, like everything, every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I thought that was huge, and so I'll be curious to see how it goes. I think
we have a couple like that, but we take care of them.
Right, exactly, and that's why I said we'll see how it works out. I know Cusco is expects a lot out of his kids, and I'm sure he's going to push them to stick to it. But we'll see.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it's great. But yeah, I just thought it was cool to finally that he's at that age now. It's so funny. Like, you literally, like, we kind of get to watch people's kids grow up and stuff, like through all the social media stuff. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, there's so much.
And so much can change in a year. Like, if you go back even, like, it's so quick, like, how fast kids grow up. And, I mean, I have pictures of, I'll look back just looking for, like, baby pictures of some of the snakes, like, that we got early 2019. Yeah. And I'm looking, and then I see, like, my kids holding them, and I'm like, oh, they both were babies. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. So, like, they love doing lives and stuff like that. Like, on Instagram, we were doing Sunday lives, and they love stuff like that. So, like, that's their idea because, they watch YouTube a lot. So they're like, we want to make videos. But
sure.
Trying to get them to actually make the videos hard.
Yeah. They say that's becoming, like, one of the most common answers, like, when kids are asked now, like, middle school age, like, what they want to do for work. They're like, I want to be a YouTuber. Which is, it's kind of scary, but like, that's the reality of, like, where entertainment and attention is all shifting, and like this and podcasts, podcasts and YouTube videos.
Oh, it's definitely a business. It amazes me.
It's interesting,
especially when you see some of those people that my kids will watch videos. They live in a house and they just do stupid shit all day.
Yeah,
it blows my mind. And I mean,
literally, I'm like, this dude's making money. How? Show me how.
Right? I mean,
it's so funny because, like, I told you, the kids used to watch those, like, opening videos and stuff at first, like,
unboxing videos of weird stuff.
Oh, our kids playing with the same toy they own.
But yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird. There's something about that. I was telling people, like, this, there's the big thing now is, like, esports and all that. But, like, I remember being one of the younger kids of, like, my cousins. Like, I didn't have brothers and sisters. I have 7 sisters now, but I didn't have, like, brothers that I was growing up with. I was, like, pretty solitary as a kid, and all my sisters were all much younger than me, so I wasn't gonna play with them. Anyway, so, like, I would end up having to, like, watch my older cousins play stuff. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think that's where it came. Like, so now, rather than, like, buy a video game, half the time I'll literally will watch somebody else play it on YouTube, like, start to finish. Because for me, it's like watching a movie, and it's still just as entertaining, and I don't have to, like, I can just, like, do that in, like, 7 other things at the same time. Yeah. So I think that's part of it, it's just, like, an attention span thing. Yeah. Where it's like, I have that same thing, and I could go and do that, or I can, like, put it on a video and, like, also be watching something else on YouTube at the same time. And, like, doing homework while I'm also doing that. I don't know. I think the human brain is changing for sure. That's why, TikTok's the whole thing. People spend 3 hours on TikTok watching 15-second videos. But they would not sit down and watch a 3-hour movie.
No, you're right.
Weird, right?
Sure.
Super weird, and, like, very revealing about the way that, like, people's brains are. Because I've done it myself, where I blinked and I'm like, I've been staring at TikTok for a fucking hour, and I haven't watched the same thing twice.
I don't have any of it.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I uninstalled it from my phone. So this is absolutely ridiculous. I was like, this is made for people whose brains are wired like mine, all fucked up. Yeah. But yeah,
I think it's everybody, truthfully.
Yeah, I think it's
it is.
like a different, and everybody being home. What else do you have to do?
Yeah.
And everybody has a phone, you know. And
Yeah.
Everybody has a cell phone. When I was younger, a couple kids had them, and I'm not even that old.
I was gonna say,
he's
making himself sound really old. He's even younger than me.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I think my buddies got them when they were like maybe 18. I didn't get one until I went to college. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had pagers, you know, shit like that. Now,
Yeah.
you got a phone, you don't need a video game or anything.
It's everything. You don't need to like,
It's
yeah,
nice.
I mean, I remember I wanted a computer, like I wanted my own computer so that I could like just whatever I wanted to, I could use it. Because we had one that the whole family shared, you know, and again, I had 4 sisters living in the house at one time, plus me.
Okay.
And so, you know, the computer time was pretty limited. But like I loved video games and just like access to information, just constant.
Right.
And so now, you don't even need a computer.
No,
You can do everything from your fucking phone. It's insane.
it's wild.
Nuts. So add to that the fact that like everybody's got a television, everybody's got a streaming device on that television, and everybody's got a cell phone. So now you've already created that situation of like you've got 2 screens just going.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's a recipe. There's definitely a recipe to it. It's really interesting. And I'm not one of these people that thinks it's like doing a detriment to humanity or whatever at all. I just think it's very interesting.
It's
Just from a marketing standpoint, of like an attention standpoint, it's like,
and the
I
way
don't
they
know.
change and adopt and make it so videos just keep playing. I mean, it's definitely a well thought out process. I mean, it's
yeah, because I
what
had
we've seen in our lives and how quickly things have changed and how like we became so.
yeah. I mean, that's not even that long time span,
Yeah.
really. The way technology advanced.
No.
You know, from hitting
to think that when I was in
the
middle
letter
school,
6 times the text
Yeah.
to what we can do
yeah,
now.
when I was in middle school, I used to text with my phone in my pocket, and I had to because I had memorized the keyboard though. I could literally hit send and the whole 9 without even having to ever look at my
That's
phone.
good.
It was ridiculous. It was absolutely horrible. But yeah, to think like that phone didn't even have internet, and that was when I was in middle school. I mean, that's only been, I guess that's been a while now. 17
Right
years.
now,
19
19
when
years.
you think about it, that's what I always.
But still, yeah, because my first smartphone was the iPhone 3G. I still have it somewhere. It still works. And that was the
I couldn't even tell you what
second
mine
one that came out. I don't remember. It was like 2007 or 8. I don't know.
She was a big razor. She loved the razor
Yeah, I did.
prior. I
The razor
remember
was
that.
like-
Yeah, I had a ton of those because when I got tired of AT&T because their service was terrible, and so I canceled my contract with AT&T, switched to Verizon, and I didn't have a choice because that was when AT&T still had the contract with Apple, and that was when I got my first Razor phone, and that's what I had for years and years and years until I switched to Samsung. But now I'm back to iPhone again, and I fucking hate it. They're just garbage.
Yeah, for iPhones.
Yeah,
Cameras
I'm
are good,
an
though.
iPhone guy.
Yeah, I mean they work. I don't like not being able to like put my little icons wherever I want on the screen. You know how it snaps them all to a grid? It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I hate it because you can't
I'm
leave
so
blank
basic,
spaces.
though.
Yeah, I guess, and that's why I say my brain's wired all fucked up. I've got to have 25 things that I've got access to on one screen and 4 buttons and all kinds of weird functions. But yeah. No, like I said, I was just asking about the hobby stuff because, like I said, I just feel like obviously almost nobody has just one ball python. There are those people, but there's just so very few of us, and so I'm like,
It's
what
hard
is
to
the
do.
common denominator here? Is
I
it
wonder.
the business side? Is it whatever? So like I said,
I think
it's
once you get into it, you see
The possibilities.
just all the
the
possibilities.
possibilities are. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything I could ever own one of. Not knowing all the stuff that's out there, and then like you guys said earlier, like just not knowing what the next big thing is, what's the next weird combo that's going to come out that that I can produce. And then like every time you get eggs, I'm sure it's just as exciting. I've only pulled eggs once, and that was like mind blowing. And then there's a whole another thing when the first time you see air bubbles from a little baby poking its head out of an egg, like
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
have
fun.
kids, but I imagine that's that's a hell of a fucking moment.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm like I made that life. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And we get to share that with our kids. So it's like
Yeah.
so rewarding because like the first clutch he pulled, the second clutch Isabella pulled, our third clutch ever, Olivia pulled, and then
Yeah, we
and
tried. She wouldn't pull it. We tried to get her.
I was recording. I don't like to be on film
She was
and
afraid
on
she was gonna
camera,
get that.
so
That's all good.
that's what we're doing at.
So what projects are you guys working that you guys are real excited about? I mean, I know we've been kind of skipping around the reptile talk, which I tend to try to do a little bit on purpose, but I am curious what projects you guys are working, what you're excited about.
Well, actually, we just figured this out beforehand. We have 9 females that
Okay.
we are pairing. So, but a lot of that,
Mostly to get head clown stuff.
a lot
Head
of that,
clowns. I'd say we have a OD head pied going to a yellow belly head pied, so the long game with that one.
Okay.
OD yellow belly.
ODYB pieds, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Anything with the ODYB and pieds, that's a huge, like if you get one of those, that's a huge piece to have on hand.
and we're at the position now that at this point it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female.
Yeah,
We're
right.
gonna use them. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
literally.
Like, so right now, like that, a lot of this is going to be holding back our
Building
best
blocks.
animals. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, so I was just showing Sal the other day, Sal from House of Gaia. It's an Orange Dream Pastel Pinstripe Special Pied.
Oh man.
And it's produced by this guy named Lambert Van Heel. I'll send you guys the screenshot. It doesn't
That'd
even
be
make
amazing.
sense. It's
Special
so
pieds,
orange, and the way that the head stamp is, like I can't even describe it. But the way the orange is that it's all literally like perfectly bordered in thick black.
Yeah.
With just like it's too much to even describe. It's crazy looking, but that dude's over in the Netherlands. There's some crazy animals that they're working with in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Between Dean Van Omeren, I think that's how you say his last name, and that guy, like there's some crazy stuff coming out of the Netherlands. So I might try to figure out how to import from over there. But anyways, we've got through one female, so we know you're shooting for ODYB pies. What else?
We're trying to prove out. We have a pastel gravel / yellow belly.
Yeah.
So we're playing the what is the game this
One
year?
on the highway. See if the ivories or super gravels. We'll see.
Easy
One or
way to
the
figure
other.
them out.
Yeah.
But either way, we're not mad at either one. You know what I mean? It's not like there's a really downside to that.
No, not at all. Yeah, I would love to get a hold of some gravel stuff. and work that just on its own. And,
Nice.
yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah, I like the super gravel stuff. I'd like to see a super gravel ultra mel just because I can. Eventually, I just would like to see that because of just how dark the super gravels are. So I think that could be really cool. What else we got?
We got a blade clown with the pastel clown.
Okay. Pastel blade clowns. Can never make too many.
Right,
No,
hold back the
exactly. That's what we're
females.
looking for.
Yeah,
Hoping
I
for-
love those animals where literally you don't have to think about the pairing. It's just make it,
Yeah.
because they'll all
And that's
sell
why-
no matter what.
We want to have the females to grow up, so that way, you know what I
Yep.
mean, after the few years that they take to get there, like, we can look at that.
And then
Real
really
strong
make
male.
a move with them. We have
Yeah.
about 10, 15 clowns that we can do
Yep,
something.
that's the way to be.
What else? The banana Mojave that's going to the blade clown. So
Okay.
Well, Blade Clown is going to the banana Mojave, she's a female banana.
yeah, I'm sorry, female
Okay.
banana, so be female banana Mojave blades. Hopefully that clown.
Yeah.
Get that.
Pet clown. Yeah.
But another one where any female we're really happy with.
Yeah, and that so female she'll be male maker.
I don't
Or do you
believe
guys
so.
know?
The way I assumed that the females were female makers.
Well, again, I think it depends on the pairing. I think it's
Is that
the
right?
way I understand it. It like jumps across. I haven't watched the video because I'm not in the banana project, so I just didn't care enough to look into how it worked.
Yeah,
But
know
yeah,
when it gets
the
to
way I
super
understand it,
banana,
it's like if it's a female, it could be either or. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Don't listen to me.
You see, I'm not sure. I know that she could. Yeah, I'm not sure.
See, we have a
No, like I
male
said,
banana,
I was
definitely
just
male
curious,
banana.
because
Yeah, yeah,
what
banana
interested me was
male
okay.
American. I know that when you get the super banana, it gets a little bit weird depending on.
Yeah, then that's why I say it depends on what the mom or dad was from that
Yes.
snake. Yeah.
Yes, and we really, I don't think we really know that animal that well, right?
No, but I like the banana stuff now from the idea of using the sex link part of that to forced
Yeah.
yourself to have females, because it's like, okay, if I get a banana that's a male maker, regardless of what it is, okay, I'm happy for everything I get that's not banana, because it means they're all females.
But you end up
And
with all
so
bananas.
I've talked to a few people about that, and I'm like, I don't know why I never saw that strategy. And like I said, I guess just because I never was interested in the banana project.
Yeah.
Not because I don't like banana. I think it's great. I don't want to work banana and ultra melt. You know, it's just,
That'd be tough. Pretty much.
it's just weird. I don't like
They
the
wants to
freckles
know.
on banana.
I just popped into the chat at glanced over and I seen what's your thoughts on Blitz Trick Hurricane?
Oh yeah.
We don't own any of it.
We don't have any of it. I'll take any of it.
You don't have a dog in the fight. All right.
No, I mean, I liked Hurricane when it came out, or when you start seeing a lot of it. I think it's really neat. To me, it's like, whatever you buy it as is what it is, I guess, right? I couldn't see buying a Trick or a Blitz and saying it was Hurricane,
call it
or vice
everything.
versa,
No, and that's why I say I don't personally. Yeah, I don't personally really care. I have Trick, but I literally got Trick as a trade. I think I told this story the other day, but
too.
yeah, I got it as a trade, and it was just one animal that was offered from a flipper that I was trying to sell an ultra male that I'd bought too soon. I didn't need him, and that he offered me like a decent size female Trick that she was almost breeding weight. And I liked the way she looked. I liked the way that he described the project, which was accurate. And so I was like, all right, cool, yeah, I'll do that. And so I at that point didn't know anything about Hurricane or Blitz or any of these other ones that keep coming out that everybody is saying are all the same shit. But yeah, these balls, I don't know. I'm sure you guys saw what Antoine said. Hurricane shit, Blitz and Tricks.
Yeah.
Too damn funny.
Antoine's hilarious.
Yes.
Dude, he's one of my favorite people in the hobby. That dude's freaking wit is second to none. He's hilarious.
For the few reasons that I still hop on Facebook every once in a while.
His posts keep me going, man. And he makes fun of everybody on all sides too, because he'll just like be going in on like something political on like one side of things or whatever, and then like come right back out. Like he'll literally go in his own comments to be like, y'all think I like your dumbasses too? Just like he's just like, no, I didn't like. He's just going after everybody. But all he's trying to do is just put a smile on everybody's face. He's just a good dude. He just brings a lot of good energy. And he's another one. Like I met you guys that same night. Through him, and like I said, like I don't think anybody can put a number on how valuable those damn breeder meetings are. I mean, the fact that he's planning on still doing those for free and he's not going to start charging through a Patreon or something is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like
that's what's amazing about
Chris
this
is one
industry.
Of the nicest guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't really benefit him much other than getting the satisfaction of bringing everybody together.
Yeah. I've enjoyed that aspect of it. I told him the other night, I was like, I feel like we're slowly seeing the Grinch's heart grow a couple sizes. Like, I was like, I won't tell anybody, like it'll just be between you and I, but I was like I feel like that, like the more that he has put himself out there over recent months, he keeps getting happier. I'm like, you got to be careful, man. You're gonna lose your edge.
And that's like, he's one of the first people, like when we first got into this and like we decided it was something that we want to take seriously and actually grow with. We had a commute to work, like 35, 40 minutes we had to come to work. When the kids were in school, that was our go. Like I know I binge listened to him. Like when I don't even know how I stumbled upon him, but I binge watched all the way up until like it was current, and then I was like, when's it coming out?
Right. I'm so glad he's finally doing 2 episodes a month. It's still not enough.
Yeah.
He could literally go once a week if he wanted to, but I know that would be a lot for him, but he could.
Yeah, some sort of time goes into
I'd listen.
But
yeah, I mean, I do 2 of these a week, and it's like between this one and Bradley, and obviously I have help with the other one, but even that's a lot, and I don't have even remotely the level of production involved that he does with his, where he's got to cut in all his, the commercials and just, just a lot of editing, so. On Miguel's channel. Really? That's interesting, Victor. I don't remember Chris being on it. Maybe Miguel mentioned him. I don't remember. Honestly. Yeah, same thing. I don't remember how I stumbled across Chris's podcast. I think it was one of those things I just searched like reptile podcast or something.
Yeah.
Probably just to kind of see like what was out there. And there's a few of us now. Like I'm not like on any of the podcast platforms. But there's a few now, but there's still not that many.
He was the only, I think that's how I found him. One of the only ones on whatever your phone gives you.
Apple,
Apple,
iPad, or iPod, or
iTunes, maybe it was, or something like that. You know what I mean? It was the only reptile one.
I think now it's podcasts.
Yeah.
But back then.
Yeah.
And then and then after him, like I was waiting for a new one, and then also was another one. It was like Sean Bradley was like, listen to him all the way through. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think stuff like that is so beneficial to people just trying to learn.
People have no idea how much value there is in that stuff. The history alone is important.
Yeah.
Oh, and interesting.
Yeah.
And then let alone not only that, but to have those meetings where you get to, ask a question or even just listen to the interactions of, Justin was on one,
yeah.
It blows my mind at that level in the industry, how open they are to communicate.
Yep.
Not a lot of things like that, not a lot of industries.
And that's so funny to me because I'm sure people are tired of hearing me say it at this point, but really, like, people think that Justin is like holding all these secrets back and he's like, pulling all these strings, doing all this stuff behind the scenes. And there's a little bit of that, but
it has to be, right?
And I'm not. I don't know everything, but I'm pretty freaking good at reading people, and I can tell when somebody's being like a salesman. I can tell when somebody's just like kind of like blowing smoke. I've never, not one time, seen Justin Kabilka blow smoke or like put on a fucking show. It's just not how he does business.
He doesn't need to.
No.
Right. Like,
no.
His animals
he doesn't need to do any of the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
At this point. And yeah, like he's still one of just like the nicest and most accessible people in the hobby.
Yeah.
One of the nicest. And has no reason to need to be. If he stopped posting anything and everything tomorrow, I don't think it would hurt his business at all.
Yeah,
he would be able to sustain just off what he's got. So the fact he still takes the time to do all the stuff he does, I think is great. And again, it just shows why he got to where he is. It's not just because he's got all of the best fucking animals, which he does, but but there's some guys with some crazy animals that aren't close to his level.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
And I think that was kind of like how you said like earlier, how you can search anybody and like you can go on and search, especially if they have a work market. I think that was important to us too, because like we want to get established so that way when we do get to be making some
when we
pretty
get to that level,
decent animals,
we
have something to back us, and you can go on our work market.
Yeah.
So we have this many reviews and like what everybody said, not just like the last month. Like you know what I mean? Having that established before. So
people are comfortable spending, if we get to a couple thousand, $3,000-$4,000.
And that's exactly where I was at. I started doing everything that I do like from a business standpoint, and then I accidentally like fell in love with the hobby. Like not that I already loved the animals, but I had no idea that there were so many great people out there. And like that was the part that I was really gonna actually get a lot of enjoyment from, was like interacting with people, even in just like live chats, just literally chatting in a YouTube comment section. Like I schedule my life around those things now. That's I never miss a stream. I don't miss for the most part, I just don't. Whereas I for so long wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
So that's been one good thing that has kind of come from my change of schedule. Speaking of that, like, what is y'all's work schedules like at the casinos? Are they all over the place? Are they fairly consistent?
He works nights.
Yeah, I've worked pretty much the same shift.
Yeah.
All the way through. It's like they call it swing shift. It's from 7 or 8 o'clock till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's not bad.
No, I'm used to it.
That's like a typical associate. It's like bartending hours.
Yeah.
I like it. There's something weird, and it's probably just, it helps that I don't have kids or anything else, but there's something to me that's strangely enjoyable about coming home at like 4 in the morning and like watching the sun come up and then go to bed. I don't know why. Maybe I'm broken.
I've gotten used to it.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that it's generally speaking, it's low stress when you're driving home because there's like nobody on the road.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
You kind of have just like some quiet, like the world's kind of at peace for a little while. You forget how crazy things are for a minute. So yeah, that witching hour. Well, shit, guys, I think this has been really productive. I'm going to kind of open it up in the comments to people that may have some specific targeted questions for you guys. I know there's a lot that we probably didn't get to that I would have loved to have, but I like to just kind of let these things be organic and like we just kind of go wherever seems natural, and this has been a lot of fun. Let's see. Justin does set many of the trends on price waves. Yeah, I mean, he definitely does, but and like I said, I'm not trying to discredit anything that Justin does. My point is that I was mostly just referring to like he doesn't have like legitimate secrets about things. Like if he's always got a couple things he's going to keep in his back pocket, but it's not like he's not doing this shit to be malicious. He's just doing it because he's like, I genuinely don't have anything to show you guys yet, so I'm not going to talk about it and have the market skyrocket on something that I don't even know if it's good or not yet. Yeah, breeder extraordinaire. Yeah, he is that. I mean, 60 acres of property with those freaking badass gates. I'd take it. And I've seen some hints at what he drives, and he's got some pretty hellacious cars from what I understand. I know he's getting big into the track racing and all that stuff, so that stuff's not cheap.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I had a buddy whose dad was a doctor, and like even he struggled to he didn't struggle. He had like 5 ex-wives, so that's probably why he struggled to keep paying for his racing habit more than it was the cars. But yeah, it's certainly not cheap to do. Whose title is on Facebook? Is that Kabilka's title on Facebook, Breeder Extraordinaire? If so, that's amazing. I hope it is. If it's not, it needs to be. I'll let him have it. Awesome. Well, I know I don't just want the gates. I'd rather have the 60 acres with no gates and just not have to worry about the gates. But I'll take some gates of my own one day. I don't know. I don't feel like that logo would be right for it. I would need some kind of symbol. We'll see. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I got plenty of time. But hey, guys, seriously, I appreciate y'all so much for your time. Like I said, I wanted this to very intentionally be less about reptiles and more just, kind of shooting the shit and having some real conversation. I don't feel like there's enough of this that happens in the hobby. And I felt like if there was anybody that I could kind of BS with for a little while and actually get like a little bit more of a hangout session and not so much just, so what morphs you got,
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to dig a little deeper and move a little bit past that, so we kind of again, like I always think about like the history of these things later on. Like I love to think that like when people go to look up RC Reptiles, like they'll be able to type you guys in on YouTube and find this interview and be like, oh, okay, like these guys are cool, like, oh wow, they were talking about this project they were working 10 years ago in this random interview with this guy that's not in the hobby anymore or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows, right? Who knows? You never know how these things are going to age. Right. But I get genuine enjoyment out of that because, like I said, I hope that one day we'll all be looking back on these things with a big smile on our face. So thank you guys again. Thank you guys so much to everyone that's been down in the chat. It looked like we literally had like 20 people pretty much the entire time. So thank you guys so much for all your time, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Have a great night, guys.